My businesses did a combined $100,000 in profit last month in October of 2023, but that almost never happened at all. And in fact, I think there was a point in time where that could have never been achieved, which is why I made this video. Because in this video, I'm going to tell you the thing that I discovered, this easy system that made scaling my business not only possible, but actually easy to do. And it was a 3-step system that once I understood and mastered it, it allowed me to not only scale my existing business, but to add new businesses and have an understanding right from the beginning of how I could turn those into scalable, profitable businesses over a period of time. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you exactly about that process that I used to scale my business, how that helped me actually structure a business that made it to $100,000 in profit in a single month. And guess what? I didn't work 60-hour weeks during that time period. I didn't bust my back doing things that I didn't want to do. I didn't grind down any employees during that time period. In fact, everyone left feeling good and happy and excited. Clients, customers, employees, and myself in what we put together and how we built up a business that was doing that so successfully and driving value for others. I'm just going to talk about in this video the thing that really made that possible to accomplish. And you're going to learn how to do this even if you've just started a business, even if your business is kind of in the midst of some chaos or turmoil because you are growing and you're trying to figure out how to make that sustainable for you and your life. And you're going to learn how to do this even if you are brand new to business and you haven't started your business yet, or even if you've been in business for a long time, you're trying to figure out how to get over that hump. I'm going to talk to you exactly what this 3-step process is and why it works so well for scaling a business. But first, why do so many small businesses fail and fail to reach where all these entrepreneurs aspire to go, which is a sustainable scaling business that's also profitable at the same time? Well, one of the big reasons that things fall apart is really operations. Now, I talk about operations like, well, this is going to turn into a really boring video about operations. No, not at all. I'm not an operations person. But what I had to learn was that there are some principles from operations that you have to apply to your business in order to make it scale. And they're super simple. They don't have to be complicated MBA level operations classes to understand and implement, no matter where your business is in any life cycle stage. But what happens to most businesses is they start to get a little traction and all of a sudden things start to fall apart. All of the processes in the business fall apart if they have any. The owner was doing a lot of things and bringing a lot of value in a certain way, and that can't scale to other people. So it becomes a really big problem really quickly. Or the things that the clients really loved had more to do with the specific owner or person that they were working with or the first iteration of the product than any other future iteration. And so the business just really can't get that traction and get scaling like it ultimately could with this key to unlock that success. And so part of what we're talking about here today is just not wanting your business to fail, because it's really easy to follow this 3-step process and break down this mental model into something that you can follow step by step to look at every single thing that's happening in your business and figure out how to make it scalable. You are only so scalable, right? As a person and in your labor, you're only so scalable in what you do. So you need to figure out a way and figure out a process that allows you to expand your business without turning your work week from 40 hours to 50 hours to 60 hours to 100 hours, like unfortunately mine was at one point in time. You need to have a sustainable life and business process that allow your business to grow without making it so that you are in a completely unsustainable position. So let's break this down into the 3 things that are going to help turn your business into something scalable so that you can deliver sustained growth and sustained profit for your entrepreneurial journey. Okay, I'm going to break a cardinal rule of YouTube, and I'm just going to tell you all 3 things right now, because if you are busy, I want to give you that value right now. But I do encourage you to stick around till the end, because all the way at the end, I'm going to kind of pull this all together into how you actually execute it. But in case you're busy, here are the 3 things that you need to know. So as you start to work on your business, there are 3 different areas that you need to think about to make your business scalable. That's people, process, and control. Now let's talk about each one of those 3 things. First up is people. That's defining who or the seat that the job gets done. All too often, your business starts to fall apart in terms of operations or scale as soon as you get more customers than you can handle, and all of a sudden, you don't know who's going to do the work, right? So the first thing you need to define very clearly is the who, right? The person, right? That's the people part. Who is going to do the actual task that needs to be done? And you don't have to define that. Maybe when you're small, you define it as, oh, Keegan's going to do it, or my friend Yelena is going to do it. But as you get bigger, you need to start to identify that who in terms of the seat? Is that something that's done by our salesperson, our onboarding person, our customer service person, our production person, our web developer, right? And your business may be different. Is that done by the hostess, by the server, by the bartender, by the chef, by the maintenance crew, right? As you think through this, for each task that needs to be done in your business, you have to have a clearly defined person or role that is responsible for doing that thing. If you start to think about your business and you're having scaling issues, one of the first things you might realize is that some tasks don't have a home in terms of which seat or which person are supposed to be doing that task. Next up is the process. So you as the business owner, or you as the entrepreneur, or you as the manager who's watching this video, you have a great set of skills. That's what got you to the point that you're at so far. And whether you realize it or not, every time you have to do a task, you follow a specific process that you've developed and memorized that's made your life easy, efficient, and you execute it well each and every time. That's part of why you've been able to scale and grow your business. What happens is that once you try to pass that off to that person, right? Let's just say you followed step one and you define that new person. Well, as soon as you try to give them that task, if you haven't clearly defined step by step your process, including the nuances that go into how you do that process, if you haven't clearly defined that one for them, then as that person tries to take over that task, they're going to start doing their own process. Now, that process that they come up with in some ways might be better, in some ways might be worse, in some ways might be more efficient or less efficient than the way you were doing it. But what we know is that your process was the one that got the business started and going. Now, don't stay overly attached to that process, because those employees that you hire, they're going to be pretty great and they're going to have their own ideas about how to make the process better. But they might also do some things that make the process worse or less efficient. So your process becomes really important to document and say, okay, here's the person who does it. Now here's the process that they should follow. Now, when they want to make process improvements, they document that, you review it together and say, hey, that is a better way of doing it. Let's do it in that direction instead of the way we've been doing it so far. And all of a sudden you've created a better process for that person to follow. And you see how your business is already getting better because you established a person, you gave them a process, and now they found a way to improve that process. But if what they came up with maybe isn't as great or would lead to another problem that you're aware of, that maybe they have less experience than you, and you can say, well, if we do it that way, the outcome is going to look like this. So let's follow this specific process, right? Now, it's also important to use a tool to document your process. We use a tool called Suite Process. I'll put the link down in the description below. It's an inexpensive way to document all our processes, but just using something like a Google Sheet or something like that will work too. Just make sure that it's shared among everyone and everyone knows where to reference and follow the process. The other thing a clear process does for you is ensure clear outcomes. One of the problems with a business as it scales, or businesses that fail, is all of a sudden the quality starts to go down because people are following different processes to do the task. And when they follow a different process, the outcome's different. And so that's why, in order to create a scalable business, you need to create a sustainable process. Number 3 is having a clearly defined control. So once you have the person defined and they're following a specific process, we're all human beings who are working together. No matter what your business is, it's going to revolve around human beings, or even manufacturing, it's going to revolve around machines and processes that sometimes don't go exactly as planned, right? The raw materials went in the wrong way, the machine had an issue. So how do you make sure that you have customer satisfaction each time? Well, to have customer satisfaction each time, what their expectation is has to be delivered on every single time. So what that means is that you have to have a control in place at the end of your process that checks it to make sure that everything went according to plan. What this is going to do for you is catch issues earlier. If you do have an issue in your process, you're going to be able to catch that because you're going to notice the dip in quality, right? You are going to notice that right away because you have a control in place before your customers notice it and leave you a bad review. And the number 2 thing it does is it makes sure that you stay consistent and have opportunities to improve. One example for a control is in the manufacturing realm. There's always a quality control person who, as things come off the assembly line, it's their job to check on them. But why don't you have a quality control process in your small business, like your restaurant, or why don't you have it in your lawn care business? That's often missed, and we think we don't need a quality control, but it's actually a lot simpler than you think. If you own a restaurant, do you have a manager who really understands the quality of the food that should be coming out of the kitchen? Do they check it in any way, right? Is part of their responsibility to run by and check the meals as they're going to the tables? Or is that manager just dealing with people who are unhappy with their meals and realizing then that there was a problem? Would they have maybe been able to cut that off at the beginning by saying, hey, they check meals at the beginning of each hour. They wait for 5 minutes and check the meals that are coming out of the kitchen to make sure that they're meeting the quality standards. Something like that is going to help. Same with, let's use your lawn care business example. Is there a chance where after all the homes that you worked on that day in your lawn care landscaping business, especially if you had outsourced your crew, you're growing to a point where a crew's doing some work, are you driving around once a week or once a month to check on the quality of the work that's being done? Or are you waiting until people start canceling your services to find out that, hey, the quality standards weren't where they used to be? Think about what is that actual check that's in place, that quality control check that happens with your products or services to make sure that they meet your standards so that you can continue to scale without worrying about a dip in the quality of your product. So that's it. So if you like this video, please subscribe and like it. We'd love if you subscribe to our channel or like this video, shared it with others. If you have questions or you're struggling with any of this as you scale, leave a comment below and I'm glad to give you my opinion. But really for us, we were able to reach this threshold of a sustainable, profitable business because as we grew, we had clearly defined people and roles that did the different things or tasks we needed to do. We had clearly defined processes for each of the things that we need to do, and we had a process for improving those processes, and we had controls to make sure that every time we produce something or offer our service, that it meets our standards. So as we get more clients and grow, right, which is the result of having a high quality business and service, it means that we can be confident that everyone is getting exactly what they want, which means we can build our cost structure the right way and create those $100,000 profit months like we just had, because we have clear expectations about what exactly our operations need to look like going into each quarter and each month to support the business and the revenue that we are getting from our clients, because we care about our clients a lot and want to make sure that we're delivering on what it is that we promise. One of the best things you can do for your clients is make sure your business has your people, process, and control established so that you can deliver for them consistently. Happy clients equals a successful business. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll look forward to catching you in the next video.